Hey guys, got a different project today besides plumbing or pool stuff. We got an old chair here that my grandmother used to own. There's my grandmother. And this was her chair. But look what happened. Anyhow, I have a plan to fix this. And it involves some screws here. And we got some Titebond 3. This is pretty good glue here. We got a couple clamps. We're going to use pilot drill bit. We got some tape here to mark our drill bit so we don't go too deep. When we pre-drill this, we don't want to go too deep. So the plan is to countersink a couple holes with this step bit, and then do our pilot with the tape on it so we don't go too far. And last but not least, we'll put our Titebond glue in this joint, and then we'll get it lined up perfectly where it should be, and we'll clamp it with these clamps. So that's the plan. Okay guys, the first thing we're going to do is get this lined up about where it's going to be, and we're going to check our depth here. And we don't want to really go too, sorry about it being kind of blurry. We don't want to go too deep. So I'm going to mark with some tape about here where my fingers are. Okay guys, so this one down here isn't going to be very deep, but when I do this one over here, I'm going to have to go, I don't know, maybe a little less than a 1/4 inch longer than the tape mark that I have here. Now keep in mind, the plan is to countersink these so I can hide the screw head later with either a plug or some wood putty or something. I don't want the screw sticking out like they did here. I'm thinking that this one was added later for strength, and then they tried to countersink this one, but it didn't go quite in all the way, so I guess that's why they didn't try to hide it. But I like how they did these. Although they're not really sunk in, they're just kind of sticking up. This one's kind of sunk in a little bit. I like that better than these ones that are actually protruding out. Alright guys, so I'm going to get my drill pilot bit set up, and then we'll be right back and start drilling that. Okay guys, I got the first one going here, and I made sure I lined this up. So I'm going to do the second one. You know what I should do for the second one? I'll clamp this to make sure that the other one gets perfectly in the spot. I apologize, I'm trying to hold this camera and do the work at the same time, and it's really hard to do. So what I'm doing is pausing in between shots, because you guys don't want to see me fumble trying to get the clamp on there and stuff like that. So I'm trying my best to edit this a little bit to be realistic. Alright, so I got my clamp on, and I got this lined up where it's supposed to be, relatively close, and then you want to see where you're going to be. Now see, we're going to have to go about 1/4 inch deeper than the tape here. I probably should redo the tape. I don't want to mess this up. You get one chance to do something, you want to make sure you do it the right way as much as possible. So I'm going to cut some of that tape back. Okay guys, I marked this in the center here, and I took some of the tape back. You want to lay it up here and make sure you're not going to go all the way through. That's the whole point of the tape, is to make sure we don't go in too far with our pilot bit. Looks like ideally my bit would be slightly smaller as well, but this is what I could find. But it's still smaller than our screws, so we should be okay. Some good wood screws. They'll probably outlast me. Speaking of outlast me, these chairs, as far as I know, they've been around before I was born, and that was a long time ago. 63 was the year I was born, so there's no date, unfortunately, on these when they were built. I wish I did know the date. Anyhow, so I'm going to go ahead and screw this next one. I don't know if I could do it while videoing or not. Let's see, get it lined up. I'm gonna have to use 2 hands. Okay guys, I did the first step on this step bit, and I hope that I want my head to be pretty much just flat with this surface here, because if I go too far, I don't know if you can see here. See how close we're getting to the end? And that we don't want that to come out. So be extra careful using the correct size screws. And I believe this is a 1.5 inch screw. And these are good ones. They're the wood ones. They say that you don't have to use a pilot bit, but I'm using one anyway because this wood is old. I don't want it to split any more than it has before. So I got the clamp here on this side. I'm going to remove this other clamp and get my hole here a little bit on this over here. And then we'll get ready to glue and get their screws in there. Okay, this one I didn't go quite as deep because I really just want this head to be sunk in there. I don't want it to go too far in because now we don't have to worry about this one too much because we got a little more real estate than the other one over here. See how it narrows here and it gets fatter here. All right. The moment we've been waiting for, we're going to take the clamp off and apply the glue. I think I'm going to lay something down here to keep the glue from dripping, and we'll get that going. Okay guys, I'm going to just show you. I'm going to get some in here. Probably a little more than I need. And I'm going to just let it soak down a little bit. Pull it apart. You want it to see it's not reaching the bottom part. So what I'm going to do, okay, there it's starting to go down there now. I don't know if you can see it from underneath or not. But you want that whole wood covered. Sorry about this camera. The whole thing covered. Alright. And then the excess can just fall down here after I get it clamped. And I'll probably use way more than I needed to. Okay guys, I got the first one in. I got it about flush. I mean, ideally I'd countersink it. What I did on my drill, I have it turned down quite a bit because I don't want it to strip. Okay. Get some of this excess glue off of here. Yeah, it's easier to do while it's still wet. After I get it screwed on both of these, I'll go ahead and wipe this off while it's still wet. But what do you guys think so far? I think it's going to hold up fairly well. I don't know if I need to add a third screw. If I'm going to, this would be the time to do it while the glue is still slightly wet. Anyway, if you're going to, make sure you do your measurement. You don't want to come out too far where you don't want the screw to protrude out here and where you're sitting. Okay, I'm going to go for the second one here. I don't know if I can just do that with holding the camera or not. What I could do is get it started here. It's really not easy holding this camera. It's just a cell phone camera, but my GoPro is a long story with that. See, I got that where it won't go in too far. I could bump that up to 6. Let's see if I can get it to drop in just a little. Oh yeah, there we go. Countersunk just a little bit. Now this one's not too happy. It doesn't want to countersink. Just a little bit. Oops, that's probably good. Alright, I'm going to wipe off the excess and think about if I'm going to do a third one. Okay guys, I decided to do a third screw. And I noticed that when I use the clamp, it squeezed even more glue out. So I think I'm going to just leave these clamps on overnight. Wipe off this excess glue here. And by tomorrow this should be set up pretty well. I would give it at least 24 hours. And then get you a little bit of wood putty, I think they call it. And you can fill these little divots here where the screws are. And then get something that'll match these chairs to hide those. Really, I don't think too many people are going to notice this, but you might want to hide them if you want. But I appreciate you guys watching today. And stay tuned for more things coming down the pike. Please hit like and subscribe. Thanks, guys. Have a good one.